Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Rachel. I'm a homeschooling mom to two boys, a first grader and a pre-Ker. And in today's video, we are going to be discussing what we got up to in the months of December and January. Let's get going. So let's jump right into this video with what we got up to in December. Now in December, I was like, it's Christmas. Let's do some Christmas schooling. I've seen other people do it. Let's see if we can give it a try. So a year ago, so not this December, but last December, I tried Gather Rounds the first Christmas, and my then kindergartner and preschooler, we attempted this, and my preschooler was not about this. And I wasn't gonna do a unit, like a fun unit like this, without both my, at the time, kindergartner and preschooler doing it. So I was like, okay, the first lesson he didn't want to participate in, let's just like wait a year and see if if my preschooler likes it more when he's a pre-Ker. So again, in December, I like set up the boys like, we're gonna have this fun December, we're gonna take it easy, we're gonna do a nice Christmas unit. And so we got through 2 units of this curriculum, and my kids were not about this. Both of them were like, Mom, let's just do our normal stuff. I don't like this. I don't like, they just did not like this for whatever reason. So for us, Christmas schooling did not work, and I'm not even gonna attempt it next year. Like, we're just gonna pass that resource on to someone who could benefit from it better. The one thing that we did take away from this curriculum for the months of December and even into January were the great book choices it had in it. It had a whole page of book recommendations, which is just fantastic. So I just went online to my local library and picked up a bunch of books. Now, I don't know if your library has been affected by this, the weird app glitch, but ever since Thanksgiving, my library app on my phone has not been working because of, there was an app glitch with how they're reformatting it, and the library didn't realize that until like the app just stopped working for all the customers one day. And I've heard it's like a worldwide problem. So if your library has been affected by the app glitch like mine has, I feel you, because you have to go online on an actual computer or, you know, a browser and type in books rather than the ease and comfort of using the app, which I feel you, because we're a heavy literature-based family. So the struggle's real to not just open up your app and do a few clicks. So I feel you if the app library glitch has affected you like it's affected me. Man, first world problems, I tell you. I don't think we'll be doing Gather Rounds curriculum again, because this is our 3rd curriculum from them, and I think we can just, we tried it. It was okay. Their curriculum was okay for us, and we can move on to other curriculum that suits our family's needs better. So that is that. Goodbye, the first Christmas. So then what did we get up to in December? I will tell you, it was just our normal stuff. So to start with, my first grader, we start with math. We are using Singapore Dimensions 1A for the months of December and January. And he is just cruising through the 1A curriculum. He did a total of 25 lessons. I have now set him up with a desk in our playroom. So whenever we do after he does his textbook with me, then he gets to do his workbook up in our playroom, which will eventually in years to come be transformed into a homeschool room. So he has a desk in the playroom that he goes and does his independent workbook on, and that is new as of, I think, late December, early January. And he is loving getting to do this just by himself without mom and brother doing our subjects. Because before, what we were doing, he would do his workbook and I would try to do my pre K's math while he's doing his workbook independently. But I was talking, the pre-K'er was talking, and he just wanted silence to do his math. And you know what? We're accommodating that, and now he gets to do it in the comfort of his own little playroom while my pre-K'er and I are downstairs doing our math. And I will get to his math in a moment, but I want to get through all my first grader stuff. So we are up to chapter 6, and this is addition to 20, and then chapter 7 is subtraction within 20. And then after chapter 7 and chapter 8, then we'll transition to 1B where we left off in 1B, because we got a few chapters into 1B before I was like, let's just go straight back to 1A, and that is working so much better. Because technically he like tested into 1B. I found that 1A was suiting his needs better, and he wasn't complaining as much to do 1A as he was with 1B. So his attitude with this curriculum, 1A, he is just cruising through it. He's loving doing math every morning as his first subject. And after we're done with this, then we'll transition to 1B where we left off. And now for my first graders language arts, we are using The Good and the Beautiful Language Arts and Literature Level 1. We just finished off with lesson 83. He's completed units 1 and 2. We're on to unit 3, which is the last unit of this curriculum. We're like 2/3 done. That is crazy. Also, he is done with all of his booster books and all of his booster cards, although I am having him review them while we wait for booster books and booster cards C to get here, which I haven't ordered yet, but I will probably next month. And for handwriting, we're using The Good and the Beautiful Level 1. This is, I mean, it's getting the job done, but I much prefer the Learning Without Tears handwriting curriculum, which I'm going to be switching him after he completes this. So probably for the second grade year, we'll go back to handwriting without tears. And also for my first grader, I will just say that his level of child-led learning and child-led interest-driven learning, he is just thriving in that. I mean, he is having me read books to him about topics that he's interested in. He's asking me so many questions. We're doing experiments that related to science that aren't necessarily our science, unit or in the topic of our science, but if he wants to do an experiment, we do it because he's being led in that direction, and if he wants to learn about it, I try to teach him. Now for my pre-K'er, we have been using Gather Round's Letters and Numbers in the Forest, and he has done so good the months of December and January with this curriculum. We've done 18 units, which is a lot for us, because beforehand we were doing like maybe one of these lessons, maybe 2 a week, before my first grader transitioned to having his desk upstairs. And this is teaching him his phonics. The math concepts are way too easy for my 4-year-old, but the phonics concepts are helping him with his letter skills and his sound skills. So yeah, I'm just really drilling those phonics skills that my pre-K'er needs so that he can start learning to read words soon. Like, he's almost like at that level. So yeah, it's getting the job done. Like I said before, Gather Around, I think we're not going to be picking up any more curriculum for them. Like, it's fine, it's just not my favorite. I have other favorites. And for handwriting, my pre-K'er finished his green Handwriting Without Tears book. He was so proud to finish this book. He worked so hard at all his handwriting concepts. He did so well. And I picked up for him the purple book, and he's only done a few lessons out of this. Sometimes we forget about it. It got pushed to the bottom of the stack, but now that I'm looking at this, we should pick this up again so he can continue practicing his great handwriting skills. And for math, we are using Singapore Dimensions PK8 for my pre-K. And you guys, he's almost done with this PKA book, and then he can move on to PKB. We've done 19 lessons during the months of December and January. Like, look, he's like almost done. He's like so close to being done. He's learning so much. The one thing I will say, it's very repetitive for the number learning. Like, he knows all of his numbers 0 through 10, and it's very repetitive, but like in a good way. But now that we're nearing the end of this curriculum, it's a little much, because let me show you. So chapter 6 is all letters 1 through 10, part 1. But then there's a chapter 7, which is, again, letters 1 through 10, part 2. So it's very repetitive, these last chapters in the book. And almost like my kid's like, when do we get to do the addition stuff? Like, can we move on to something else? So I will say the last 2 chapters, very repetitive. Well, he's actually jumping around and like choosing which workbook pages to choose from, because he can technically do all the workbook pages. I just have to sit and like encourage him and like tell him the directions. So it's encouraging that he knows all his numbers 1 through 10 and that he's making great progress. And I'm so excited to get on to PKB here in the next few weeks. And if you hear any giggling, it's my first grader. I have him over here because he just got a big owie and he needs just some TLC. So he's on the couch, just hanging out with a blankie. So if you hear any noises, it's my first grader. But now let's move on to family subjects. My favorite thing. We've got science, social studies, literature, Bible, and dun, 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 we brought back Spanish. Thank goodness, because I forgot. I've forgotten Spanish this year, you guys. Whoops. So let's talk about Spanish. So for Spanish, we have Beautiful Mundo, Volume 1. We're still working on it, you guys. And my first grader, he is doing the Letras y Sonidos phonics workbook. And this is teaching him so many Spanish words. We just picked this up again in January, so we've done a few lessons on just throughout the week and every Fun Friday, because Fun Friday is when we get to do most of our family subjects. So we're loving this. And then my pre-K-er, he is doing the Letras y Animales, an ABC coloring book. So he is going through the alphabet again, hitting those phonics concepts. With each animal, it's a new phonics concept. So we're loving that for my pre-K-er. Beautiful Mundo has book recommendations and like activities to do. We have not done that. We're just doing workbooks because that's what's working for us right now, you guys. That's what's working for us, and that's okay. I'm doing what I can with Spanish because Spanish does not come easily to me, even though I took it in high school. I remember begging my parents to teach me Spanish growing up. I just remember knowing that that was going to be so important. Like in my work, so many times I had to hire a translator as a speech therapist, like call up the translating company and be like, hey, I need a translator because I don't speak Spanish. And I just think it's a great skill to have that's so practical. Like, what person in life ever was like, man, I really wish I didn't know a second language? Like, said no one ever. Said no one ever. What should we do next? Science? Because science is like my favorite, you guys. We finished Gather Around Space Unit. We were using this as our Fun Friday science, and it worked for us. There were 20 lessons in here, and in the months of December and January, we did, I think, 5 of them. So yeah, through the months of December and January, we did lesson 15, History of Space Exploration, lesson 16, Life of an Astronaut, lesson 17, Rockets, lesson 18, Stars, lesson 19, Constellations, and lesson 20, Gravity and Light. And asking my kiddos which their favorite was, it was the star one. And it was so fun to learn about stars because I learned so much from this curriculum. The read aloud portion of this is packed full of knowledge and interesting facts and beautiful pictures. I did, for this curriculum, supplement with SciShow Kids videos and Free School Kid videos for basically each lesson. So on Fun Friday, we would do one of the lessons and then do the read aloud portion, take a little break, then do the notebook portion, take a little break, then do the videos that I found on those topics that correlated. And it was a great science program overall, but it added in the notebook sections a lot of extras that weren't necessarily science related and that we didn't need to necessarily target, but we did them, and it was a good experience, I think, for all of us. But will we be using this curriculum again? Likely not. But we learned a lot about space from this curriculum, so kudos to that. So now that we've finished the space unit for science, we are moving on to earth science, and we are using my favorite curriculum from last year. We are using Blossom and Root, Wonder of the Earth and Sky. This is year 1. We only did the weather and the season sections of this curriculum last year. We never did the earth science, so that is what we get to do. This curriculum is secular. It is not for everyone. Let me just make that disclaimer right now. Like, you as the teacher, you know what you can teach to, you know what your worldviews are. Is it right for us? Yes, because I'm totally comfortable teaching to my worldview and what I want my kids to learn about. And I love science, and I love exposing them and asking big questions and having them be little critical thinkers and teach them how to analyze information. So there's that disclaimer. So this curriculum is based off of wonders, so you get to go as deep into a topic or as little into a topic as possible. So the first wonder was Born from Stardust, and then the second wonder is Layers of the Earth. We're loving this. There were some great videos we watched from SciShow Kids and some great book recommendations so far. We made this Play-Doh Layers of the Earth, where there was the core, the inner core, outer core with Play-Doh, and then the mantle, and then the thin layer of crust, and then the continents we put on, and then we got to split it in half and like see the layers. It was just hands-on fun learning. I love this curriculum. I'll be doing in-depth reviews on probably most of the wonders. Yeah, love it. We did this, and then my first grader has a science journal to go with it. And then going from science to Bible, we are using the Child's Story Bible along with the Charlotte Mason method of scripture memorization. We're rocking and rolling through this. And my kids, let me tell you, my kids are little prayer warriors. Their Sunday school teacher and the Cub Scout den mother of my first grader has literally said, my child's a little prayer warrior, because I really let them pray at all the meals. I'm teaching them how to pray because it's a skill to be taught. The women's Bible study course that I just took was how to pray. So even grown women need to be taught how to pray. Grown-ups need to know how to pray and be taught how to do it. Jesus's disciples literally asked Jesus, how do we pray? It's a good skill to learn. Now for social studies, we are using Around the World with Picture Books Part 2. In December, we did the country of the Netherlands, and in January, we did the country of Italy. Both were good units, like middle of the road, average units. They taught us a lot. The cuisine is always like my favorite part of the curriculum. We just made homemade pasta during the Italian unit. That was so much fun. The cuisine in the Netherlands was actually probably my least favorite cuisine, just because the pancakes used yeast and they just were a little like different tasting than our normal pancakes. So I think that's why the boys didn't like it so much. But there was so much book recommendations with this curriculum. Let me go show you the books. Here are some of the books for the Italian unit and the Netherlands unit. I had to return some of them to the library, so it's not even all the books we read for our literature-based social studies unit. I have my cat right here. You might be able to see her tail maybe. But yeah, we enjoyed all the book choices. So we read a bunch of Christmas books, we read those social studies books, we read science books from our Blossom and Root recommendation. And then the last book we've been reading is The Tower Treasure by the Hardy Boys. It's the first one. My first grader wanted me to read this, and we've been working on this since like, I think November we started this, and my pre-K-er absolutely loves this. When I ask him what his favorite part of homeschool is, it's reading Hardy Boys. So my boys love to be read to. So field trips, we went to our local community pool, and that was so fun. It's just nice to do something different on a fun Friday. So we did that one day. And oh, the other huge thing is my first grader got pneumonia. So we were out of school for like 3 days at the end of January. And that was so rough on him. It was, if your kid has had pneumonia, you understand, like they just sleep through, like sleep. And like you think the fever is gonna break, and then it breaks, and then like you're like, yes, okay, the sickness is done, and then another fever starts up. So that was really rough. So on medication, thankfully, but man, it took it out of him. But now I think we're on day 4 or 5 of medication, and he is back to his perky little self. Well, you guys, that I think is everything we did in January and December. I have piles and piles of books around me. Hopefully in February I'll get to do like just what we did in February. But filming on these dreary months when the kids can't really go outside has been hard. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. There was the ice storm of 2024 that hit us. We couldn't even go outside for so many days because of the ice storm. It was just like, it wasn't even fun to be in the snow. Like for a few days, it was nice fluffy snow, and then afterwards it was like ice, and it was dangerous. But yeah, that's everything through this video. Let me know how your December and January went. Wherever you are, I hope you are having a fantastic day. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.